Here's your news for April 19th, 2020. We're kicking off today with WWE news as the WWE has cut more superstars, this time from its developmental system. According to PW Insider, this latest group mostly consists of people signed from tryouts abroad, including Egypt's Mohammed Fahim, who signed in 2018 and predominantly worked the Florida house show circuit. Muay Thai instructor Marco Gomez from Brazil was also cut, as well as Faisal Kurdi and bodybuilder Hussein Aldagal, who both signed with the company after the June 2019 tryout in Saudi Arabia. Edgar Lopez from Chile and Rocky Yifeng, an actor from Shanghai who signed all the way back in September 2016 following a tryout for Chinese performers, were also cut. And we can only hope that everyone let go from the company this week will be able to land on their feet at this worrying time. More NXT names include Tainara Conti, a Brazilian wrestler signed in 2017, Tino Sabatelli, a former NFL player signed in October 2014, Cesar Bonani, a Brazilian professional wrestler signed in 2017, and Mars Wang, signed in 2018, and Nick Agarelli, signed in 2019. Whilst many fans may not know these released stars, one name fans are familiar with is Cassius Ohno, who has also been released, according to Dave Meltzer. At this time, it is currently unclear whether the 40-year-old was released or furloughed, but given that he changed his Twitter name to WWE Alumni, it's likely he's gone for good. Ohno returned to WWE in 2016 after a brief stint from 2012 to 2013 and spent his entire time in NXT, including recently working in the NXT UK brand as both a wrestler and a trainer. In addition to NXT, Ohno, who is perhaps better known by his indie name Chris Hero, has worked in other promotions, including ROH, Chikara, Evolve, and Impact, and we hope that he too is able to find a way to remain financially stable in the current global situation. We're going back in time now to when it looked like WWE were going to make the Revival a comedy tag team, and though the former superstars didn't go full comedy, the WWE did get very close. This week, Bodyslam.net released leaked photos of some unfortunate attires planned for Dash and Dawson, who are now going by Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, making the pair to straight-up clowns, and these images were reportedly given to the Revival during their final meeting with WWE. Vince McMahon reportedly handed these proposed changes personally, and after years of being a serious tag team, we can only wonder what the Revival thought of the proposed attires, which surely would have been paired with new music and a whole new dynamic for the team. When one fan asked Dash Wilder whether he was holding glow sticks in the photos, the former tag team champion pled the fifth, and while Wheeler is neither confirming nor denying the glow sticks, it certainly appears to be that way in these legit photos. Obviously, the pair never did rock glow sticks, multicolored bow ties, or Flava Flav chains, and we can only think the duo, who may soon be working as The Revolt, dodged a bullet. From two men gone from WWE to one waiting to return, as Jinder Mahal has said he's cleared to return. Mahal's last match came on June 15th last year, where he ruptured his patella tendon in a match against Mustafa Ali, and though an internal memo said that the former world champion was due back in November and later expected as a Royal Rumble return, these dates have come and gone. Speaking to WrestlingRumors.net, who contacted Mahal to see whether he was going to be released, Mahal confirmed he is cleared and waiting for WWE to bring him back. After shocking fans with his WWE title win over Randy Orton in 2017, Mahal would briefly capture the US title the next year. And after spending his 2019 either injured or chasing the 24/7 title, time will tell what side of the modern-day Maharaja we get when he returns. Now, we previously reported that WrestleMania 37 may not happen at the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles next year, as the venue will not be opening on schedule, and LA Mayor Eric Garcetti has said it would be very difficult to see large gatherings returning until some point in 2021. With that in mind, the WWE has reportedly been looking for a new home for WrestleMania 37, as the company may end up hosting their biggest show of the year without a live crowd for the second time in a row. With it being unclear just how long it'll be before large-scale events are permitted in the arena, WrestleVotes gave an update on the situation, saying it's too early to speculate on details, but reported, WWE has begun researching a Plan B on an alternative site to host WrestleMania 37 if the state of California is not allowing large gatherings and/or SoFi Stadium is not finished on time. Hopefully, this ongoing global situation will have subsided by WrestleMania 37, as WWE doing a year's worth of closed-set tapings could do major damage to the brand. Like WrestleVote said, it's far too early to speculate on what exactly will happen with WrestleMania, but for now, it does seem possible that the show won't be taking place at the SoFi Stadium after all. Speaking of pay-per-views, WWE's next big show will be Money in the Bank, and this year's show will be much different, as the titular ladder match will now take place on the roof of WWE headquarters. Fightful Select reports that talent was flown to Stamford on Tuesday, where multiple matches were filmed simultaneously, and that this busy schedule went from early morning all the way through midnight. It's interesting that the company filmed in Connecticut, as they don't have essential service status there, but do in Florida, where all of their content has been filmed recently at the Performance Center. Their report also states this work was, quote, tedious, and a lot of, quote, hurry up and wait went on until the next shots could get set up. They said, "We're told there was also a hiccup that caused filming to stop for an undetermined period of time, but was eventually settled. We're working to gain more information on that." This year's show will see both Money in the Bank matches be cinematic, and following the critical acclaim of the Boneyard and Firefly Funhouse matches from WrestleMania 36, it's not hard to see why they're bringing back this style. Although we don't know too many details on what the iconic ladder matches will be like, we do know that at least some of Money in the Bank is already filmed, and it'll be interesting to see what the finished product looks like on May 10th. We've got some news from outside WWE now, as while Jim Ross is no longer with the company, he had plenty to say about the recent cuts made by the man he worked closely with for years, Vince McMahon. During a recent edition of Grillin' JR, the Hall of Famer said that there is more to come of the global situation that is affecting everyone, and that is unfortunate. JR also addressed the idea of WWE hoarding wrestlers to keep them away from AEW, saying that it shows a lack of confidence in their own management. He said, "At some point in time, you've almost got to look into some of these talents and say, look, the economy's changed, the model has changed. Things are different than they were before, and we've got to adjust. So not unlike an NFL contract, we need to renegotiate your deal." I just think there's more to come on this thing, unfortunately. But I think that some of these had massive salaries. For guys that are coming in and working 3 or 4 times a month, it's just not good business. And a lot of people believe that the reason all of these talents are being stockpiled is because WWE did not want to give it an easier road for AEW to travel to build their brand, as in being able to sign some underutilized and talented people. And so if that was the reason all along, to me, that was very short-sighted. It also tells me that maybe people there don't have total confidence in their own management philosophy. WWE? They're the NFL, right? They didn't need to stockpile everybody in the world. Out of all the sporting events in the US, pro wrestling is the only one that's found a way to stay on the air every week, and hopefully this global situation will come to an end sooner rather than later. We are looking ahead to SmackDown now, as next week's show will see 2 more Money in the Bank qualifying matches. On the show, Sasha Banks and Lacey Evans will face off for a spot in the women's ladder match, and this match comes off the heels of Evans getting involved in the Bosses match with Tamina recently, chasing off SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley, allowing Tamina to get the win and a shot at the former Huggers Gold. On the men's side of things, Drew Gulak will face King Corbin for a spot in the men's ladder match after Gulak stopped Shinsuke Nakamura from interfering in Daniel Bryan's qualifying match against Cesaro on this week's show, which also saw Corbin attack Elias backstage. So far, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Nia Jax, and Dana Brooke have all qualified for the women's ladder match, while only Daniel Bryan has qualified for the men's, although tomorrow's Raw will see Rey Mysterio face Murphy, Aleister Black take on Austin Theory, and Apollo Crews face MVP for a spot in the men's ladder match. In addition to the 2 qualifying matches, next week's SmackDown will also see Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defend their women's tag team titles against Carmella and Brooke, as well as the latest chapter looking at Jeff Hardy's career. With next week's show also documenting the history between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman ahead of their Universal title match, as well as the start of the 25th anniversary celebration of Triple H, fans will have plenty to tune in for next Friday on Fox. We have some AEW news now, as Dustin Rhodes will have a match against Kip Sabian next week on Dynamite, with a stipulation that if he doesn't win the match in the TNT Championship Tournament, he said he will retire. It's hard to know if Rhodes is really going to hang up his boots. Either way, the AEW roster has responded. Kip Sabian had a reply to this announcement. He praised Rhodes, but still intends on beating him. Chris Jericho also replied saying what an honor it'll be to announce Rhodes' final match in the Squared Circle. Y2J sat in with Tony Schiavone on commentary for 7 hours during the latest set of tapings. Taz also weighed in on the situation where he praised Rhodes by saying he's at his best now. MJF said, "Good riddance." We'll have to see if Dustin Rhodes really does retire this week. That match was filmed a while ago, so you never know what they might have planned. And finally today we're ending with news from this week's edition of the Blue Brand as the New Day captured their 8th Tag Team Championship reign. In a triple threat singles match between Big E, Jey Uso, and champion The Miz, the ending saw Miz put Uso in the figure 4, only to be pinned after a big ending from the New Day's powerhouse. Now as 8-time champions, the New Day are close to matching the Dudleys for most WWE Tag Team title reigns, who held the gold on 9 occasions. This win brings Miz and Morrison's reign to an end after 50 days, and it'll be interesting to see what the relationship between the two is after Morrison retained their titles at WrestleMania, only to have Miz lose them.